So may I ask a canine question?
Yeah.
Let me just, oops, start the video with the thing on the camera. There we go. So, 27-pound, 13-year-old dog has had laser spine ablation, has arthritis, has one leg that twitches like most of the time, so she's not comfortable. She's on an NSAID called Galliprant, and she has some it's called tramadol. It's
Yeah.
like a little bit of a synthetic opioid, but it's not really. It's like trying to pretending to be an opioid, and it also has a serotonin reuptake inhibitor. It's not there for depression. It's supposed to change the way the brain perceives pain. Anyway, what kind of CBD stuff would be useful for a 28-pound dog on drugs?
So we actually have dog treats as well as dog tinctures. With our treats, they do come for small dogs, medium dogs, large dogs. 27 pounds would be in the middle dog area, the medium dog. So about 10 milligrams per treat is what they're recommending. And sometimes 1 to 2 treats a day, depending on the severity of symptoms. But we have it that is for mobility for dogs. And then we also have it, so it's for anxiety and stress for dogs. And then we also have it for just overall wellness for dogs. But the CBD itself is what's going to help all of those. And each of those types of treats do offer a little bit extra. So for the anxiety one, it's got chamomile and theanine in it, along with the CBD. The one for pain relief, it's got turmeric in it.
Maybe sometime tomorrow.
Along with the CBD. So
is the mobility one and the overall wellness one the same as the pain relief, or is there one of them?
So they're all going to help with pain relief, but the one that's for mobility is going to be mostly for pain relief because of the added ingredients in there besides CBD. So
if I wanted something, I should start with the mobility one and hope it helps a little bit with anxiety too.
Yes. Yep. The CBD, there's the same CBD in all of them. Just the mobility one has the turmeric in it that does help with the inflammation as well.
Well, groovy. Is there, if I were to poke around on the internet and look this stuff up, what would I search for a mobility? Like, is there a brand or something that?
Well, if you wanted to check out, we have a website, and from our website, like I said, we do ship to all 50 states, and it's always free shipping as long as it's over $25.
Now's a good time to ask for that website, pretty please.
CBDStoreMI.com.
Solid copy. Thank you.
Good.
We do have a lot of blogs on there as well that will educate you if you're looking to be more educated in different things. So the blogs might help also.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
So if you want to take it for the pain, aches and pains of fibromyalgia, and then anxiety too. I mean, it helps all of those.
Yes.
The one product. Okay.
Yep. CBD is going to do it all for pain, inflammation, anxiety, and stress. And then also, like I mentioned, it can help with sleep too.
I need that.
Yep. So yeah. Our pet products, just FYI, we sell 50% of our products are sold as pet products, and then the other 50% are for humans. So, but we do have the pet products in tinctures as well. So if your dog doesn't like treats very, very well, or maybe it's difficult for them to do treats, the tinctures are also popular, and they come in a chicken or beef flavor. So those are good for dogs like that, and you can adjust the dosage that way also versus a treat that's set dose. And some people, you can get it right in the dog's mouth that way, Others, you might put it on a scoop of ice cream or peanut butter. No dog's ever said no to peanut butter or ice cream, I don't think.
Neither of those
CBD on it,
foods
they'll
are
take it up.
neither of those foods are native to the dog's environment. No dog in history has ever made it. Yet dogs really go for it. I'm like, what's the deal? I mean, I don't think dogs did a whole lot of peanut digging.
No, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm a fan of it too, so there it is.
Then again, there's no scotch in the wild. We had to make that. And I sure like
Right?
So for using CBD products for canines, I'm getting the impression that the fact that you can't overdose on CBD is a good thing, and the dog can't tell you too accurately what it's feeling, so you have to guess by how it's acting. So if you give it the, say for example, carprofen NSAID, then every dose is kind of slowly shutting down the dog's kidneys or increasing the pressure anyway, so that then their electrolytes get out of whack. It's really sounding like, particularly on the canine front where they can't explain where and why it hurts, it seems like CBDs or even all the cannabinoids are a better way to go for, and I guess I could extend it to any patient that isn't really that verbally responsive.
Right. Absolutely. So like I said, you can't overdose and a pet can't overdose. Whatever you do more than what your specific dose might be, is just going to get wasted out. But for, let's say, a dog taking CBD, the best way to notice it is if they're doing it for, like, your dog might not be walking well or something like that. I've had customers say their dog's running around the neighborhood now, or running around the backyard, I should say, and doing much better after taking a couple doses of the CBD product. That's how they kind of knew that it was helping, because their dog that was not moving around much is suddenly moving around a lot more.
Well, I'm hoping for something where she doesn't hesitate to come up one step to get in the house. That's my metric. Yep.
I've had just about every scenario that you can think of with pets and with people come into the store. But the pet anxiety has always been the biggest one, especially on 4th of July. So we sell a lot of the anxiety treats around 4th of July. For thunderstorms also, with the first thunderstorm we have every year, I end up selling through all my treats. So, but yeah, it's been great for that. And most people that try it end up coming back because they realize how much it's helped.
I have another question. Could you discuss again about the coconut oil? I was trying to take some notes on that, but I guess I couldn't write that fast. And then also some of the other side effects besides nausea with the CBD.
Okay, so coconut oil is easily absorbed into your bloodstream. So that's why it's been kind of the preferred route to go. There are some customers that we've had that can't have coconut oil, and they do make CBD in other forms. They actually do make it with a hemp seed, like I was mentioning, the hemp seed oil. So you can do it in hemp seed oil with the CBD. It costs a little bit more that route, and it's not as common, so it's more difficult to find, even though we do have some right now. But for the most part, people just use the coconut oil with CBD, and that's going to be the best route to go. As far as side effects go, like I said, there's really not a lot of them. There's, depending on the studies you look at, some studies, actually I had some written down here. is, yeah, some of them say that people have noticed some tiredness. But here's what CBD does is it works with your endocannabinoid system, which is also connected to your nervous system. That CBD brings it to homeostasis. So if you're tired, it will help you sleep. If you're during your waking hours, it will help you be more alert. So it doesn't necessarily make you tired, and it doesn't necessarily give you energy, but it's going to help your system work the way it's supposed to. So that's why it also helps with sleep. And it during the day, it'll help you stay alert.
So would you say for someone who would begin to take it, do you take it every day or take it as needed or?
I like to take it every day. I recommend it every day because there's a lot of other benefits to CBD. It's also antibacterial and antiviral. So for that reason, I haven't been sick in about 5 years.
Wow.
It's been great for that. I believe the CBD is what's doing it. I haven't had anything pharmaceutical or over the counter in 5 years now.
Wow.
Not even an aspirin in 5 years. So
Wow.
I only take CBD. And that also, I didn't mention it, but I had seizures before I started taking CBD for many years. And I learned at one of the seminars that CBD could help with seizures. So I came off my seizure medication 5 years ago as well.
Good.
And have not had one seizure since being on CBD only. So that's another reason I take it every day, because I don't want to have a seizure ever again. And so it's helpful in that way, but I also don't want the back pain, so taking CBD every day. Doing it twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening, keeps it in my system so I don't wake up with symptoms also.
Okay.
Some people can do it as needed, but most people do it regularly. Some people can do it once a day. Most people do it twice a day because it stays in your system about 16 to 18 hours before it starts wearing off.
Okay.
So doing it twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening, will keep it in your system 24 hours, and you don't end up waking up with symptoms.
So
Something I didn't get into there, I'm just going to touch base on, sorry. There's 3 different types of CBD. One is called an isolate, which is just pure CBD and nothing else. That's an isolate. Then there's a broad spectrum. The broad spectrum is going to be all 100 cannabinoids, but no THC. So that's taking the THC out. That's kind of been popular with, like Fremont, where we are here, we have the Gerber plant, which is Gerber baby food. A lot of their employees come here, but they can't have THC because they get drug tested. So we sell a lot of our broad spectrum to them so that they can get the benefits of CBD without the THC. We have a state police officer that comes in here for it. We have a firefighter that comes in here for the broad spectrum. But overall, if you're not subject to drug testing, the full spectrum with that little bit of THC, that 0.3% or less THC, is actually the most preferred route. You're getting a lot more bang for your buck when you go to the full spectrum route.
Okay.
So
As opposed to the isolate, you said?
Isolate is a powder form.
Oh, okay.
You can put it in drink and food and stuff, and we do have tinctures with isolate in it. That's the coconut oil with isolate, and it's just pure CBD, doesn't have anything else in it, no other cannabinoids. But like I said, there's over 100 cannabinoids, and every single one of those cannabinoids can offer benefits.
Okay.
So doing isolate, you might need to take a lot more than just a full spectrum or a broad spectrum.
Okay.
How long does it take to get THC out of your system if you do a gummy of THC? Just curious. I'm not working, but.
Right. So that can vary on the amount of THC that you have in your system, but I would give it at least a week Some tests went as long as 3 weeks and they noticed THC in a person's system. So, yeah, it varies depending on the severity of the test. There's different tests.
Mhm.
Doing a urine test is going to be different than a blood test.
Yeah.
And a hair test is going to have it in there for a lot longer than either of those. A blood test, usually you can find it in longer periods of time. A urine test is going to be about a week or less.
Yeah. Okay.
Different tests.
My husband has peripheral neuropathy, and we're kind of thinking it might help that with glaucoma and things like that. We do use a topical here and there, and there's a gummy that they recommended for restless leg syndrome. So we did go to the greenhouse to find out some information, but I'm kind of hesitant of, I don't want to be driving and have any incidents or problems, and nothing really makes you where you're doped up, and you might have the munchies a little bit, but that's about all we encountered so far. So thanks.
Yeah, and I caution people with any type of THC to be sure they are cautious with driving. The 0.3% is not going to do anything to your mind or mess you up that way, other than help you with anxiety and stress. But at the same time, it's not going to be psychoactive.
So other than the price, the only reason that you would select between a 500, 1,000 or 2,000 is for ease of dosing for how many drops, right?
We have a dosage chart. So for instance, if a person needs 25 milligrams, or let's say 15 milligrams a day, which is kind of right in the middle of where all of our dosages are. I usually recommend like a quarter dropper of our 1,000 milligram bottle. A quarter dropper is going to equal 8.3 milligrams. So doing 8.3 twice a day is going to be better than doing 16 milligrams once a day. But you're going to get relief from both of them. Just it might wear off after about 16 to 18 hours. But yeah, like I said, with each person, it's going to be a little different for dosing. With the 500 milligram, yes, you're going to need a full dropper, maybe add some to that, maybe 1.5 droppers. When you get into the 1,000 milligram, you might need only a half a dropper, depending on your size and the severity of symptoms. Most people get away with a quarter dropper twice per day. Some people need a half a dropper twice per day. I actually have customers doing the 2,000 milligram bottles and doing a full dropper twice per day. And that's a person with Parkinson's disease. We had to follow him up every 3 days to figure out where his dose is going to be. And then he called me after we finally got him on a dose that was working, which was a full dropper twice per day. But he called me and said he was grocery shopping. And he said, it may not sound like a big deal to you, but I haven't been out of the house in 2 years. And this is the first time I've been out of the house. The only thing I'm doing different is taking your CBD.
Wow.
He said, I'm not shaking and I'm not in pain. I feel like a normal human being.
So the CBD actually helps suppress the tremor in Parkinson's?
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
I need to tell Jim.
Yes. So that I had tears going down my eyes when I took that phone call, but yeah, it was nice to hear.
Good.
We're talking about Parkinson's. I don't know if Michael J. Fox would be beneficial to taking that unless he's already on it already. I don't know.
Michael J. Fox is he's a big advocate for CBD. He believes in it strongly. He says it's helped. So yeah, he's been a big advocate for the CBD industry.
I was going to say, I think probably, but I saw on the news the other day that this guy has a brain stimulator and he showed the difference. It's like an electrode and it stimulates the parts that give you the Parkinson and whatever, or unstimulates them. And he turned it on and he was still as could be. And then he turned it off and he was all over the place. He says it's the difference between night and day, that they had put in his head. And I think it kind of works like one of those heart things.
Good.
Like a pacemaker, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, a friend of
Hmm.
mine just had the batteries go out on his, and surprise, he was just collapsed and shaken, and I mean the disease had progressed without him knowing it because it was masked by the deep brain stimulator. And
Right.
once it went away, he was in a world of hurt. And oh, by the way, they have to stop all your medications in order to calibrate it again. So they put the new one in, and they couldn't give him any meds.
Oh, boy. Yeah,
So-
that's what the guy said as well. He's off all his meds and everything because of this brain stimulator.
Well, no, it's not just that. It's yes, the brain stimulator can reduce your need for medication,
Right.
but if it can't do it all on its own and you still need medication, then when they have to recalibrate it, you can't be on any of your medication. So it's you got no crutches at all while they're putting that back in, and then they can add the meds after they get the brain stimulator as good as it can be. But yeah,
Right.
you're right. It's very impressive. It's life-changing. It's remarkable, and I hope I never need one. I just want that tactical neural implant that they promised back in the day.
Same here. Mm.
So if you got somebody who's never tried CBD, marijuana, nothing, who has Parkinson's, is there a particular page on the website I should send to him and say, hey, you want to try this? Or is it just like try the 500 milligram and tell him to take a full dropper and see if it helps him sleep? Or what would be my first step in taking a friend of mine on a CBD journey?
Well, the biggest obstacle I have with most people is they don't know the difference between hemp and marijuana. They kind of put us together. Like at this elderly event I went to yesterday, almost every single person that came up to me thought CBD was marijuana. And that's the biggest thing, because a lot of people don't want to take marijuana. So convincing somebody, first of all, that CBD is not marijuana, it's not going to get you high, is the biggest thing. Secondly, I guess education. What I do every time I need to educate somebody on CBD in a certain situation, like today, I actually printed off several notes for fibromyalgia to make sure that I kind of had the gist of what I needed to talk about today. But the same thing, I look up CBD4 and then punch in the symptom, and try to get the most education. Now, on our website, I'm trying to think if I have a blog. We have hundreds of blogs. I may have one for that situation. I'm not sure. I would have to look again. Some of our blogs are going back 5 years. So,
well, looking on the website, I can get them like a 500 milligram fresh berry for $35. I mean, that's if it's not way too light to do any good, then I just get them one and say, hey, try this at nighttime, and if you like it, try it daytime, and then take it from there.
yeah, so that's a lot of people like to start with the smaller bottles, the least expensive route. As long as you know it's everything that I sell, I have third-party lab tests on to make sure it's accurate. I do have a Men's Health magazine back here. They did a study and found over 50% of the brands out there were not accurate with their potency. So, like a lot of brands were coming back with, it said 500 milligrams, but only 100 milligrams, or in some situations, there was no CBD in their product. So, and that's because it's not FDA regulated.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I really kind of urge the FDA to regulate. I know a lot of people don't like the FDA regulating their industry, but if I can weed out all those bad companies that are not accurate, then that would be better for me, of course, because we have third-party lab tests on everything we sell. We make sure that the potency is accurate. So if it says 1,000 milligrams on it, there's 1,000 milligrams in it. We also check for pesticides, mold, heavy metal,
Oh, wow.
and make sure none of that's going to be in the product.
Just generally speaking, don't buy your CBD products at a gas station.
Right.
Right.
Gas stations, video stores, if there's any video stores left. But yeah, anything like that, I try to avoid CBD products.
No,
If it says, sorry,
you buy the CBD products behind the video store.
right.
So you
yeah.
said, I know that body weight, you said body weight is a factor in the dosage amount. What about age?
Not necessarily. It's more on the severity of symptoms. A lot of times as you age, like I age, you get more and more aches and pains.
Mhm.
So you might need more CBD than a 20-something, but
Okay.
at the same time, it's based on the severity of symptoms and the size of a person.
Okay.
So you mentioned earlier about combination of CBD and THC. So a lot of the THC inclusive products like gummies or pills or whatnot don't have much CBD in them. So would a combination of something like a pill or a small gummy that doesn't have a lot of either, plus like a half a dropper of 1,000 milligram CBD oil, would that be like the way to get your optimum function out of both?
Yes. Yep, you could do both. If you are able to get a hold of THC in some states, it's not legal yet, but if you can get THC, a lot of dispensaries will have the 50-50 mix.
Mhm.
But if you can't find it that way, you could easily kind of figure out how much THC you're going to get by figuring out milligrams on it, and then do CBD alongside it. So yeah, and the CBD actually will dilute the high, so you won't get that as strong of a buzz by doing both of those together.
Well, that's a fun fact, because if anybody was, like, for example, ate a gummy and you can't stop. You're strapped in for the ride.
If
So
their head is spinning and they feel like they're out of control, CBD will help them come off that high.
that's good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So did you mention something called CBN? Did I
Yes.
hear you say?
Yep, CBN is another one of the 100 cannabinoids that's growing in popularity because it's really good for sleep.
Ah,
So
okay.
doing a CBN with a CBD is actually your best bet. I actually, right here. So this is our best seller. It's called Night.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Okay.
got CBD with CBN.
Okay.
That has 750 milligrams of CBD and 250 milligrams of CBN. That is what helps me sleep every night. So I do regular CBD in the morning, and I do this at night, and that takes care of everything I've ever.
That's the one I need, because I have insomnia really bad. That would really help me, it seems.
Yeah, it's
Good.
been amazing how much we sell of that thing.
Good.
So it gets expensive if you drink the whole bottle. I heard that.
Yeah.
And you can't say, oh, you have a headache, take 2 aspirin. It's like you have to kind of take how much you need. Is other than drank the whole bottle and didn't get relief, is there a way to gauge if it's like, is it going to work, kind of a deal? Or more to the point, it's going to work. It's going to do what it does. The test is it going to do enough of what you want it to against the specific thing you're complaining about? So it's like,
Yeah.
I get, like, try a quarter of a dropper, and then next day you're actually try a quarter of a dropper for like 3 days, and then try half a dropper. And so I get that, but is there like a way to say, yeah, I need something different?
Well, it's going to be, we get very few customers that say that they didn't see relief. And I can't tell you how severe their symptoms are, or the right dose. But my recommendation is it's a big enough difference, keep upping your dose, you find the dose that might be helpful for you. But yeah, that's, I'm not freezing on anybody because my internet just said it's unstable.
You were
Yeah,
freezing.
you were freezing.
Okay,
We got
sorry.
like,
Yeah.
what I'd recommend is, and stopped. So
I'm sorry.
you froze right after saying what I recommend, and then
Yeah, so what I recommend is usually trying a small dose for 3 days. If you don't notice a big difference, bumping it up for another 3 days and see how it goes. And then bump it up every 3 days until you find it to work. Once you find the dose that you need, you can probably stick at that dose all the time. And that would be your best bet. On occasion, we have people that say it just didn't work for them, but I don't know why that wouldn't work, but sometimes people say it didn't work.
so the thing I was trying to get at was really the tried it for 6 days at a quarter of a dropper. It didn't work, so to heck with it. It's like, well, no, that's not necessarily the way to do it. You know, you gotta. It's the hurdle I'm trying to comprehend better is the fact that unlike FDA prescribed doctor medications, they look at your body weight and whatnot, and they tell you take this for 6 weeks and then you'll start seeing relief because they've got all that data. And this is a lot more personal. And so it requires more user involvement.
Right. Yep. You're going to have to kind of figure it out yourself, depending on your severity of symptoms, and your size would matter. So, yeah.
So
I
really,
give you a chart that gives you recommendations on where to start.
Mhm.
And that's, even then, that's just kind of it's where we find most people to help, but not everybody's the same.
You need to have a medical marijuana card to get CBD or order CBD online?
No, you do not need any marijuana, anything for CBD. It's legal in all 50 states. In fact, it's legal in Michigan, at least. It's legal for me to sell to any age except for the smokable products. Then you got to be 21. But CBD is legal for all ages in Michigan. It's legal for all ages.
CBD is a lot like flaxseed oil or cod liver oil or or krill oil when it comes to its legal place on the pharmacopoeia.
Right. Yep.
So
I think one
what
of my biggest hesitations was that I didn't
Yeah.
realize at first that CBD was not marijuana. And so, I've been kind of hesitant to try it. But
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. People don't understand the difference between CBD, hemp, and marijuana.
right. Now the creams, if you use a cream or topical, that just helps like the local pain or joint. That doesn't help your anxiety or sleep issues.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
A topical's not going to help you so much. I mean, I've had people that put the topical on their temples when they had a headache and said it helped.
Okay.
But overall, yeah, if you've got
Okay.
anxiety or anything like that, the topical's not necessarily going to help you with that.
Okay.
What kind of a doctor do you go to? If you go to an internal doctor, nobody supports with my fibromyalgia, with my husband's diabetes, nobody supports the anything with the hemp or whatever. They don't recommend. Do you go to an alternative doctor? Who do you go to that specializes that's going to support you in this? Is it the functional medicine? Who is it you go to?
My personal, I go right here to the local, I guess the hospital here has our doctors here, all regular doctors here in Michigan I'm finding to be supportive of it. It probably depends on the hospital and stuff. More and more doctors are getting on board with it, but I know there's still doctors old school thinking that CBD is marijuana. They're just not educated, so they just veer away from it.
Well, we
But-
know that Daniel Qua has talked to our group about the THC with the CBD, that he is like a U of M supporter, and I know he's had articles in the Men's Health magazines and things like that, but it's like, I don't know. And then he has these little side support groups, you know, thinking that everything stems from like a previous past history. And it's like, it's not always that with osteoarthritis. It's not always that with fibromyalgia. It's just, I don't know. I think that we have an internal medicine doctor that deals with a hospital, but will not talk to us on it. They don't have a word of it good at all. So it's like, it's difficult, you know?
Asking for a second opinion might be an
Yeah.
option too. Not all doctors are going to be on board yet. And
Yeah.
I think it's because it's not FDA regulated.
Mhm.
But for most part, doctors are finding that CBD is not dangerous and it's going to be better for you than aspirin, and that it does have beneficial properties to it. Just the FDA is not saying, go ahead yet.
Mhm.
Well, I hate to interrupt everybody. Our meeting's coming down to 2 minutes and 44 seconds. I don't know if we have so much to talk about, so maybe we have to go to Zoom session number 3. What does everybody think?
Okay.
Yeah,
It's up to you guys. If you want to continue, I can continue.
yeah, that sounds good. I think we might
Yeah.
have some more questions. So I guess we can just resume in the Zoom number 3 and then just take it from there.
Okay, hopefully the password works a little quicker.
Okay, I'll try to get on a little earlier. See you guys
So-
soon.
So we are literally going to